Hi guys, Bran here with a little bit more of a serious video today. Not a total bummer, but a little bit more of a serious video today. I realized that I did something kind of dumb, kind of stupid. About a month ago, I made quite a few videos basically inspiring people to quit Dead by Daylight. I think I came to the realization while watching several different streamers, listening to a bunch of people who play the game, that people continue to play Dead by Daylight despite being absolutely miserable playing it. It's not to say that like the game has so many flaws that are obviously numerous, and those should be complained and addressed. But I'm more referring to people who like only enjoy the game like 10-20% of the time, and the other 80% of the time they're absolutely miserable. And I was telling those people to like quit. It's like not good for your health to play something that, you know, is making you that upset all the time, and also it brings down the people around you. But the error that I made was that I never really told people how to really go about this. I never told people, like I said, hey, you should get off of this game if you fit this category. And I never really gave any sort of like tips or help on how to exactly do that, which is kind of lame of me to just kind of say fix it and then not give you any sort of guidance with that. So what I'm going to be doing is giving you a 6-step process of things that you should be doing if you're wanting to wane off DBD and eventually quit it. If you're one of those people that unfortunately fits into one of those categories where you're not having fun most of the time that you were playing the game, and you probably want to get off, but you're just kind of like, you know, struggling on how to figure out how. Number one, okay, here's the deal. If quitting DBD tomorrow sounds scary, it's because it is. So don't do that. Just like anything that you're heavily attached to, these things take a lot of time and have taken a lot of time for you to get invested into. Stopping anything like huge in your life, not just like DBD, but anything, stopping anything huge in your life suddenly can really shake you up and like really freak you out. So therefore, you're going to be more prone to rushing back to whatever you're trying to leave, quit, or wane off of. So the real goal here is to curb time spent playing and to wane off. When people are trying to wane off anything, whether that be caffeine, eating too much junk food, whatever, a lot of people just like to cut cold turkey. And while that can be like a very like stark step that shows like, hey, look, I'm changing, it's also not very sustainable, and it's a very jarring change. So that applies to this as well. If you're wanting to like quit DBD, don't just like stop playing, uninstall, and just like leave it, period. Because you're gonna be more implied to like hop in a Twitch stream, watch a DBD game, and go, maybe I should hop back in. Maybe that was a rash decision. Because it was a rash decision, not because it was bad for you, but because it was just like too sudden. It was too jarring. So don't cut cold turkey. Number two, speaking of that, play in moderation. Play in moderation. So this one's gonna sound super lame for something like this, but I would set a hard limit. I would set a hard limit on the time you're spending playing the game. A lot of people just keep going down to the bottom right of the screen and keep hitting the find match button, find match button, find match button. Like you just keep clicking that over and over and over. And like no matter how hard of a time you're having in DBD, no matter how miserable you are, so many people just kind of like autopilot down to that bottom right hand corner, just find match, find match, find match. You just keep clicking it. You just keep clicking it. You're not even like doing it. You're just autopiloting in your head. So what I would do is I would set a specific limit for that. Like, hey, I'm only gonna play killer for a couple hours today, and once those 2 hours have passed, I'm just gonna get off. Literally set an alarm if you have to. Literally set an alarm if you have to. Just make sure that time is enough for you to get enjoyment out of the game, but also stick to that cutoff time strictly. If that means setting an alarm, set an alarm. But that will start this process of playing less without making it feel like such a jarring, scary change for you, like cutting cold turkey. Number three, at the very least, give yourself some breaks. I do this on stream sometimes. I often forget, but I need to get better at it. But playing any game for any long amount of time is really, really draining. So it's in your best interest to take a break about every hour that you're playing. Walk around, grab a drink of water, do something just for like a few minutes, just so you actually are breaking up those uninterrupted long play sessions. Your body will thank you, and it'll get you more used to this whole lack of autopiloting. It'll make you stop, falling asleep at the wheel, so to speak, when it comes to you just playing and hitting that find match, rematch button over and over and over, and getting you stuck in that cycle of like just not having a good time if you make taking breaks a regular part of your play sessions. Number four, spend less money on DBD. The DBD cosmetic shop is very, very, very expansive. Like there's a lot of stuff going on there. It is huge at this point. It's really easy to compulsively fall into buying that cool set, or buying that cool shirt for your favorite character. And it's really easy to just like go into the in-game shop, just go up to the orc cells, buy orc cells, and just kind of like, you know, kind of like snap buy things just because it looks cool. Because honestly, the cosmetics in this game are really cool, and there's nothing wrong with that, like on the surface. But DBD kind of becomes a pit after a while, a sunk cost, if you will. When you've paid for so many cosmetics in this game, and these cosmetics have no outside value in the world at all, and it's just contained to the game, it's like a trap. And that's why they're built that way, to feel like a trap. You feel like, well, I gotta play DBD because I spent the money on these cosmetics. I have to play the game because I spent all this money on these cosmetics, and these have literally no value and no influence on anything outside of the game itself. So you get into this trap of, well, I need to get value out of the cosmetics I bought, so I gotta keep playing. So what I would do is try to limit the spending that you do inside of the game. I would get, like we've been explaining with the other things, do this in moderation. I give you like maybe like, you know, 1,000 orc cells once a month, and that's it. So that's enough to buy you, like, it won't buy you any of the legendary sets, but it'll still give you the ability to buy like one cool set if it comes out that you're like, wow, that's cool, and that's on my favorite character. I can just snag that real quick. And it will prevent you from just kind of like snap buying, because you're still technically getting stuff for yourself, but you're not like snap buying every time you have any sort of inkling or adoration towards something. And once those 1,000 orc cells are gone, they're gone. You don't get to buy anything else, and you got to hold yourself to that. And then maybe month after month, you lower that. Like, okay, now I'm gonna buy like only the 500 after a while, and then, you know, so on and so forth until you eventually wane off entirely. Because that defeating that sunk cost fallacy is a huge way that you stop feeling attached to the game. Number 5, and this is probably the most important one, so if you've ignored the other ones up until this point, please pay attention to this one. Seek help. Seek help. This one is really important, and it's something that I can't give advice on. So I'm talking generally about like how to quit the game, how to quit DBD, because, you know, quitting games versus video game addiction is like a whole other conversation. And that, like, addiction is a sickness. That is a lot more serious than just, I am too attached to this game. There is something going on that needs more help than simply an attitude adjustment. Way, way, way more serious than that. If you think that your issue is more serious with your attachment to the game, then don't be afraid to reach out to a mental health professional. It's not a bad thing, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Video game addictions are incredibly common, especially with MMOs and mobile games, but this applies to DBD as well. This can happen in any game, but DBD kind of follows similar paths that a lot of the addictive games have, like, you know, paying for cosmetics, having an in-game currency, all that wonderful stuff. This doesn't even have to like strictly be a video game addiction. Often people get intensely attached to a game because of some sort of other issue that's very, very intense and needs addressed that isn't being addressed. So it may not even be video game addiction, but there's something else in your life that needs that professional help that isn't being sought out. And therefore you're playing a game way past your point of enjoyment and getting addicted to it just to fill a void or kind of comfort an unsolved problem. So you think that's the issue? You should also seek out professional help if you think that is the case. Number 6, this is probably the silliest one and then probably the most on the nose one, but pick up another hobby. Pick up another hobby. Doing something else sounds like the most, you know, no duh thing to do here, but I'm being dead serious. Finding something outside of DBD to occupy your time could go a long way for you. Keeping yourself busy with something like alongside the game can make you feel not as compelled to have to spend that much time in the game. This obviously varies from person to person. I can't tell you what hobby to pick, right? For me, this is Soulsborne's games. Elden Ring's been out, and I've been loving Elden Ring, and I love grinding that out. But Soulsborne games are my comfort games, so I play those alongside DBD. I've also been enjoying a lot of Phasmophobia and trying to get better at that. So it's kind of taking away the time that I'm spending on DBD because I'm getting invested in other games. It doesn't even have to be other games. Like Heather loves collecting Animal Crossing cards and little plushies and figurines. That's her side hobby that she does. And that, just finding something that fits you, something that fits you to do, that you like, and you feel like that's something that represents you, makes you feel like yourself, that you can invest some sort of time in alongside DBD, not in place of it yet, but alongside it. It'll break up that feeling that you need to be so attached and defined by the time you spend in Dead by Daylight, and you'll feel like, oh, well, I'm just somebody who plays Dead by Daylight, not a Dead by Daylight player. I have these other interests that also define me as a person, and not just the time in Dead by Daylight and what I do inside of that game. So yeah, hopefully these 6 tips help you out in terms of trying to wane off DBD and quit outright if that is your wish. I do think that first off, I would obviously seek a break. I feel like breaks are always nice and help you like recenter yourself. But if you're really serious about quitting Dead by Daylight, hopefully you can use some of these tips to try and eventually get off of it, because I feel like not even just with Dead by Daylight, but anything, any habit or game or whatever that you're attached to, if it makes you more miserable and makes you happy consistently, that's not good for you. And I hope you find whatever makes you happiest in life. I hope you are able to quit the things that make you miserable and find the things that make you happy. So hopefully I've helped you do that today. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, friend. Hopefully I see you tomorrow, but if I don't, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.